ever, like, daydreamed about winning the lottery? Like, what would you even do with all that cash?
It's a question that sparks the imagination, doesn't it?
Totally. And we figured, why not ask the internet? We took a deep dive into this Ask Reddit thread. What would you do with $50 million? And, well, let's just say people had some thoughts.
It's a classic thought experiment, isn't it? Kind of lets you see what people really value.
Yeah, like right off the bat, tons of people were like, peace out, I'm out of here. Like straight up disappearing.
Yeah, the allure of a blank slate. It's powerful stuff.
Right. This one commenter, Brian Mello, said you would never see me again, that's for sure. Just like that. Done.
I mean, it makes you wonder, like, what is it about our daily routines that makes so many people crave escape?
For sure. Though I gotta say, not everyone was quite so subtle. We also had our fair share of what we dubbed the vengeful few.
Ah, yes, the ones with an axe to grind. Or maybe a whole pile of cash to grind with.
Okay, so this one person, they were like, I'd buy my company just to fire my boss slowly. Like, they had it all planned out, you know?
It's kind of dark, right? But also kind of understandable. Like we've all had that fantasy.
Well, absolutely. Who hasn't daydreamed about telling a bad boss where to stick it? But it's interesting, though, right? This idea that even with $50 million, some people would still be hung up on those old grudges. Makes you think.
Definitely. It makes you wonder about the kind of, I don't know, power dynamics at play in our lives. Even just thinking hypothetically, that need for control comes out. Which I guess brings us to the simple life dreamers.
Yeah, those were kind of my favorite. Like, forget the mansions and sports cars. These folks just wanted to, like, chill.
Right. Like rediscovering the beauty of doing nothing.
Exactly. One person was like, I just want to turn off my alarm and never set it again. Honestly, same.
Right. Makes you realize how precious those things, time, peace, quiet, really are. And how, for some people, wealth is less about what you BUY and more about what you can finally S.P doing.
Ugh, isn't that the truth? But you know what else we found? It wasn't all about escapism and revenge. Like, yeah, we had our fair share of wannabe supervillains, folks just trying to, like, escape reality. But then you had these people who were all about, being practical.
Right. Like, suddenly you're holding $50 million and your first thought is, better update that spreadsheet.
Seriously. We dubbed these ones the practical planners, right? Because, like, they had their whole financial strategy mapped out.
It's like they went from zero to Warren Buffett in, like, 5 seconds.
Totally. This one commenter, Dathis Fluff, they were talking about, like, setting up trust funds for their grandkids, and they hadn't even met their grandkids yet.
It's wild, right? Like this imaginary windfall, and they're already planning for, like, the next 3 generations.
I know, right? Like, good for them, but also, whoa. It makes you wonder if, like, maybe we're all a little too conditioned to think about money in this super serious long-term way.
It's true, though, isn't it? Like, even in this completely made-up scenario, that pressure to be responsible with money, it still creeps in.
Totally. Like, can't we just fantasize about buying a solid gold yacht without worrying about, like, the mooring fees?
Okay, see, that's the spirit. Although you got to admit, those mooring fees for a solid gold yacht, probably astronomical.
Okay, true. But still, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's fun to just let your imagination run wild, even if it's totally impractical.
Oh, absolutely. But I think even in those more, shall we say, outlandish responses, there's still something telling about what people value.
Right, totally. Like, whether it's buying a private island or funding, like, a lifetime supply of pizza, it all speaks to what we long for, what we think will truly make us happy.
Exactly. It's like this weird window into our collective subconscious.
Which is, let's be real, what we're all about on this deep dive. It's kind of like money can't buy happiness, but it could buy you a lifetime supply of those tiny umbrellas for your cocktails.
Right. Like, is that happiness? Who knows?
Yeah.
But hey, at least you got a lifetime supply of cocktail umbrellas. But, all joking aside, it's really kind of fascinating when you think about it.
Yeah, like, it's just a simple question, What would you do with $50 million? But the answers, man, they get kind of deep.
Totally. It's like it makes you think about your own priorities, Like if you had all the money in the world, what would you actually do with it?
And that's what I love about these deep dives, right? It's not just about the crazy Reddit threads. It's about what they tell us about, like, ourselves.
Exactly. It's like holding up a funhouse mirror to humanity,
Totally. But hey, on that note, we're about out of time for today's deep dive. But before we go, we want to leave you with something to ponder. If you stumbled across $50 million, what's that one thing you just couldn't resist? Let us know in the comments, and who knows, maybe your answer will inspire our next deep dive.